Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is going to be Astral Blackout, which was map 2 for Fog of War 2. Sorry for the delay on getting this out. This was recorded live, and I'll try to get the next Fog of War out soon. Map was created by Punitor, and the theme for this week was Fog of War, or old school Brood War style. So if you look at the map and you see how it's all blacked out and you can't really see anything except for basically Zelnaga watchtowers and some minerals in the darkness. In fact, I think I can click on destroy. That's weird. Point being, Punitor figured out a way to bring back the old Fog of War from Brood War to make it interesting. It's a deceptively long map, which I'm only doing game 2 because game 1 replay decided to screw up on me, which makes me very sad. And also special thanks to AZK for getting, or AZK, for getting me the awesome frickin' intro, which I just could not, I won't even get into it. Apologies to him for taking so long, and he's awesome, and special thanks to him for that frickin' awesome intro. Anyway, 9 o'clock location, you have Incontrol Blue Protoss. 3 o'clock location, you have NRG DDE as the red Terran. And game 1, basically what you missed was an attempted Zealot Rush from Incontrol. He looked at the mini-map, figured, oh, this is probably a small map, and it's actually deceptively long, as you can see via the probe travel time. So Barracks seal in from DDE currently looks like he's having a bit of an engagement with that probe, trying to whittle it down, but that SCV is got some additional health there. I'm going to be able to stick it to. Trying to flee now. Also an additional gas here for DDE. Just a very standard opening, but Incontrol up to shenanigans. Is he going to go? Actually, I should bring up the production tab. Is cycling? I like that decision to cycle back here to Destructible Rocks. Also, kind of hidden back path that is cheese options. If you want to play this map, by the way, just search for Astral Blackout, and you should be able to find it on the published maps for Punitor. I think it could be entertaining, and there we go. Gas steal for Incontrol while he had that probe in base. I don't think it's going to hurt DDE too much, simply because it looked like he was going for more of a 1 racks into expansion or 1 base build at large. What this does do is this does slow down any sort of Banshee harass. This also slows down any sort of early factory tech. So, and I like this decision on his part as well to loop over to the natural expansion. Maybe go for a pylon block. There is a marine there. Let's see if he can keep that probe alive. Wow, really heads up for DDE to be there as well. So this, if he can sweep around, maybe get through, he might be able to block that natural expansion, but blowing up in a little bit of blue flame. He's now tacking on a second gas, so going perhaps more gas infantry heavy here in the mid-game. Looks like DDE has got his scout up in here with that cybernetics core whirling. Also looks like he's expended most of his chrono boost on probes thus far, so it doesn't look like he's saving it up for any sort of rush. 2 gateways planted and a probe evacuating, but sweeping right back around. Marines on top of that assimilator for DDE. It looks like a Marauder first with concussive shells. I don't like this decision on DDE's part, actually, to go with the tech lab and concussive shells opening. Usually what you do this to just put some pressure on your opponent and try to force him to go sentry first. It looks like Incontrol is in fact going sentry first and defense up a little bit, and at best what you're trying to do is catch a couple stalkers out in the field in a harassment position. Looks like Incontrol is actually skipped, and this is a lot of field to cover, actually, is really what I feel. So I don't feel like this early concussive shell aggression thing is really going to be worthwhile. I feel like concussive shells as an early upgrade is going to be a little bit null, basically, and not that helpful. DDE cycling to that bottom left-hand corner now to get trapped. Second scout unopposed inside the base. Incontrol going to lose it fairly quickly, but he saw precisely what he wanted to see. No additional infrastructure, and there's not a lot of building room here. And wow, interesting shift by DDE. He was saving for a command center, but instead he's plopping down a factory to throw Incontrol off, also plopping down a refinery. Is running a bit spare on the minerals here, but let's see how Incontrol reacts. He's also got 2 sentries out of his own, and that's a bit of a difficulty on this map, having a lot of sentries, because really wide gaps here. So force fields, you need a lot of them, is really what it comes down to. And as a result, yes, the main is somewhat protected with that ramp, but once you start fielding the sentries forward, a little bit more difficult to have some success with them. Marauders pushing forward with that marine. Looks like they are approaching the Destructible Rock in the very pretty lightning flash zone, as I will call it from here on out. So sort of a shortcut. This should be the shortest distance between the 2 spawns, as well as kind of cross access to the 12 and 6 o'clock locations. Factory switching off to the tech lab. Let's see if we see some siege tanks early. So to do some early game press, perhaps. Looks like we also have a starport in manufacture. And it looks like a Hellion. Never mind. Hellion first, and perhaps Blue Flame upgrade on this corner. So I really like Hellions on this map. That's a great decision. This is a really exposed natural expansion. You can imagine trying to force field this. It would be nigh impossible. Just such a huge gap for these sentries to cover. So Hellions almost always will be able to sneak in here. The pylon on the front will be the key to this defense. Just basically stalkers warping in and trying to pick off the Hellions as they come. But on top of that, let's assume Hellions aren't able to go and attack. They're very fast units, they're very mobile units, and as a result, they're going to be able to scout a lot of this territory very, very quickly, provide a lot of harassment. Once you're talking about past the natural expansion plus the natural expansion, that Hellion getting wiped out. But DDE does see this army incoming, 5 sentries, 5 stalkers, and let's see if he'll be prepared for it. He currently does not have a lot of marauders, and he's in a difficult situation. He doesn't have a large army to deal with this, plopping down 2 bunkers in control if he gets a move on a very wide territory. Oh, and that's unfortunate. A Viking actually in play, perhaps for scouting rather than anything else. I don't think he was expecting a Colossus rush, but in control going to be able to establish position. If he can get a pylon out here, he's just going to be able to warp troops in. I think he was expecting a natural expansion, but finding nothing empty, but he still is going to have an opportunity out this. This is very convoluted main. Engaging here and having a bit of trouble getting up into this ramp. Some nice force field to block off some of the troop. There's the Guardian Shield. The tank's still there, and too much. In control has to back out. Didn't get a lot for his money there. And he doesn't have any high ground spotting to really pick away at that supply depot on the corner with an observer or some sort of unit like that, which would have been really helpful. 2 tanks, a Viking, energy holds, and wow, just really didn't take a lot of damage at all. Orbital Command sitting inside that natural expansion. Sitting inside the main, providing lots of additional resources. It looks like he's now going to lift off and take the just deserts the territory that it deserves. Siege tanks being produced. Looks like infernal upgrades. The infernal pre-igniter was actually skipped. Siege tank upgrades coming along the way. Factory tacked onto that reactor, I assume, to get more Hellions out in the field, and in control starting to move out again. His natural expansion is up and running, bringing up the economy tab. He is slightly ahead, but that should shift rapidly as soon as you see those mules drop. Blah, blah, blah. And turret at the natural expansion, just in case. Dark Templar bunker as well, or observers to provide a little bit of that. So that kind of, I don't want to call it range block in, but basically to keep the observers out of that natural expansion, make it a little bit harder for Incontrol to cycle around. Obviously a lot of territory still to work with here. But 2 gas, so 4 gas total, a very gas heavy investment, and that also gives DD a little bit more territory to just build infrastructure. You can see how tight it is in here. He's already got 2 factories, a starport going medevac, and medevac mobility, getting troops across the field could be absolutely huge, and a barracks down on the low ground, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more barracks here on the low ground. In control with the sizable army starting to move out, a lot of sentries, a lot of stalkers, also some zealots. There's a pre-igniter upgrade. Also has his robotics bay building in the back corner. He's currently moving up to 4 gates plus his robotics facility to field his troops. He's got that assimilator up, but is currently not mining gas out of it. Perhaps it's just mining gas momentarily. And it looks like DDE is going to sneak an expansion to the upper right-hand corner with this SCV to take an economic advantage. Huge economic lead. More Hellions starting to move out in the field. Looks like that Viking also pressing out to provide a little bit of scouting. And I love that basically this Viking acting a bit like a Corsair from Brood War 1. Moving out in the field, going to be able to scout, going to be able to just swath across and provide a lot of information. Also going to be able to line back for this medevac full of Hellions. Moving in, wants to strike some blood. In control, not in position. He's got an immortal, but look at all these troops. They're nowhere near the main, nowhere near the natural expansion to provide any sort of defense help against this medevac, but it looks like that probe did in fact scout. Let's see if Incontrol is going to be able to react in time. Warping in some stalkers. The Hellions dropping. It looks like, unfortunately, they are aiming for that pylon. Medevac taking a little bit of damage. They're trying to back out. Still going to be able to get in that peon line, and with that blue flame, wow, just able to wipe out troops. Moving up the stalkers there now, all the way from the 6 o'clock location. This is the thing. Ooh, more troops. Even though that was only 3 probes, every bit counts. And on top of that, you saw that Incontrol had to bring back his entire army to defend, just because of how effective Hellions are on this map. And it looks like a planetary fortress being upgraded in the upper right hand corner. That's going to be an extremely difficult base for Incontrol to take. Looks like that medevac starting to back off in that upper left hand corner and just provide some latent threat. Even seeing a medevac can be some trouble, but the Hellions continuing to move out in the field. They are absolutely golden. I like DDD's adjustment. Wow, 4 factories now basically going straight mech, and this is a great map to go mech. It is large, it is wide, you've got a lot of gas to work with. He's already got the economy to roll it if he grabs these 2 additional gas, and he can just work with the upgrades, use the Hellions to keep Incontrol back on a defensive position, away, and basically devastate this 3rd base once they start moving out in the field, and just get a big buff juicy mech army that's full of metal and full of damage. Oh, nice. Going to pick off that medevac in open field. That was really persistent of Incontrol. He's still got an observer out in the front field. Looks like it is going to see these tank placements, but DDE is happy to sit back. This is where Incontrol actually needs to expand a couple times, and he's, I think, having trouble scouting what DDE is up to. Another command center being built to take another expansion. The only problem with mech is you need to keep that army alive. Looks like level 1 weapons, level 1 plating coming, but if you lose a lot of siege tanks, if you lose a lot of Thors, which I think we'll see inevitably, there's that armory spinning. 2 actually extra armory for DDE. Hellion's moving up to the top location. Looks like they're going to find probes moving up, but nice defense by Incontrol. Already has the stalkers there, but the Hellion's so fast, so mobile, able to dance out of it immediately. And it looks like they're going to cycle down, try to take out that pylon. Anyway, speaking of mech, you can't lose the Thors, you can't lose the siege tanks. And engaging again, wow. She wants to take, which she's not going to get, because look at those Hellions. They're happy to just dive in there. But at 2 locations, it's just such a wide map. He can't cover everywhere at once and protect against these Hellions. Oh my goodness. Able to just, with a free ticket to this natural expansion, Incontrol, inevitably going to lose all of these probes. Was already economically behind, could not lose this. DDE is on a rampage, moving in. Oh, Hellions trying to push their way out, and on top of that, only 3 Hellions lost. Extremely cost effective. Continuing to pin Incontrol back. Looks like he's engaged. Oop, a little bit. It just didn't back them off far enough. Still losing troops. Now engaging like, screw it, I'm going to attack. 4 Hellions now fleeing for their lives after seeing the rest of that force taken out and just delaying Incontrol while he builds this gigantic meaty attack force. Man, that is a lot of metal. That is a lot of metal. So, and still more factories coming. Unbelievable. So DDE very heavily committing to a mech sort of style. That upper right-hand base has to feel very confident with all of these siege tanks nearby. There's the blink upgrade. Incontrol on top of everything else is going to need some weapons upgrades to keep up. Looks like he does have level 1 weapons and level 1 protoss armor. Nice comms had to catch a large portion of Incontrol's armor at the army at the 6 o'clock, and the Hellions now moving out to the 12 o'clock. Incontrol already on top of it, has got the stalkers moving there. Interesting placement for his persistently chasing these Hellions. DDE just sticking around a little bit too long, but more Hellions out in the field, and that is a very formidable, very scary Hellion force. Another medevac as well to perhaps drop them along the back lines. Looks like some additional Hellions are already looping around to a very juicy, very unprotected natural expansion. There are 2 Immortals, but they're not able to close the gap. The Sentry's starting to move back here, and let's see. The additional thing this is going to do is this is forcing Incontrol to go more Sentry heavy, which doesn't do the best against open mech, more or less. And it looks like some more Hellions being wiped out. Twilight Council is up and more probes being annihilated. And this is devastating for Incontrol. He's already behind economically and still having difficulty keeping up. Able to take out that Hellion harass, but the damage has been done. He's once again had to draw his entire army back. Has some Colossi now in that attack force. Really needs to be a bit more Immortal heavy to go against this. Wow, look at all those siege tanks. That is a lot of siege tanks. Maybe Stalker Blink will help against this as well. Looks like he's getting Zealot Charge to provide some support. And another huge force of Hellions dashing across the field, looking for probes to annihilate. Looks like they're about to engage Incontrol's main army. But here's the problem for Incontrol. He is at a 165 supply now. He's got the 6 o'clock base with forges, perhaps again because of the small location at the main. And wow, the Hellion's still able to dive in despite the cannons, despite the Zealots, and take out more probes. Ooh. Still able to take out probes, so cost effective, and more dashing in. It looks like they are going to be engaged, and 2 stalkers blocking the ramp, finally taking this out. Incontrol having a lot of trouble dealing with the persistent and constant harass from DDE's Hellions. Looks like he's expanded to this bottom right hand corner. 4th base probe is the observer in fact going to see it. Let's see if Incontrol will be able to deny that. But for how long? Just giving a pure unit count, we have 5 Thors, 16 tanks, and still 8 Hellions that are starting to move. Well, just a handful of them moving out in the field. Incontrol with a sizable army, taking out the destructible Re here at the 6 o'clock. And Hellions once again diving up, going to be able to work out the probe line. Probe's actually trying to fight against this. 2 stalkers being warped in, but far too late. Wow, in control down to a measly 48 harvesters, not where he wanted to be. Looks like he was able to push out that orbital command. DDE saw it coming, so and has some nice comm sets here. Just nice instincts is where in control's army is going to be. So was able to back out that command center, floated over the high ground. Maybe we'll take it at another time, at another place. A lot of siege tanks still, a lot of Thors as well. That is a scary large army. As soon as DDE starts to move out, even though it is not very pretty, it's not very fast, it is effective, gets a lot of damage done, and I assume he's waiting for level 3 weapons upgrade before he fields that attack force. Hellion's being pushed back finally by that Stalkers. I think that's the first unsuccessful harass for DDE this entire match. Now DDE gathering up. Ooh, 3 Stalkers getting too aggressive. Those poor Stalkers are like, we will run in and save the day. Oh my goodness, that was a wall of metal I just ran into. Ugh, pylon annihilated, absolutely annihilated. 6 o'clock location is up for in control. This is fortunate for him because maybe he won't have to worry about it against this mech army. But the thing is if that mech army swings south, he is not going to be able to stop it. I don't think he's going to be able to stop it here at the north even. Stalkers blinking forward, not the best engagement point. Tanks in siege position everywhere. The army melting underneath, just shattered Protoss army in the wake of DDE's massive tank line. Wow, that is a huge tank line. Very quickly taking out those destructible rocks, re-landing here at that bottom right-hand corner. In control can spot it, but he does not really have an opportunity to engage. He has some immortals, but really needs an entire army of immortals here to engage this. He needs bulk, he needs economy, and I don't think he has either. DDE with nice engagement points, just going to establish a siege line with these siege tanks and work his way in. In control knows he can't hold it, so he's going to just evacuate with those probes, send the Thors forward. DDE is actually backing up. Might be a counterattack here for in control. He's moving all of his troops to the south. DDE right on top of it though. Nice reaction through some comsat, seeing that army evacuated. He's going to take the 12 o'clock gold while he's swinging around to try to defend this bottom right. In control is going to get there first. Maybe, no, I take it back. He's backing off. I guess because the observer saw all of those armies just swinging around, so he's going to swing back to the 12 o'clock location, try to take that base out. Observer seeing everything here, and unfortunately for in control, he has to abandon this now. He doesn't have enough to stop. He does not have enough to engage this army heads up, so he's just playing loop around. Looks like SCV is actually falling off, and they're like, I will enjoy this attack. Noms, SCVs to the rescue. Cannons do not do anything against this attack force. DDE does not even need to siege this expansion. Completely annihilated. Oh, Dark Shrine in the worst possible location. 4 Dark Templar are going to warp in, but then this could be the golden opportunity for, this could be what in control needs, is basically Dark Templar against a lot of orbital commands. There's a lot of comsat to work with, but maybe he can get a couple lucky DTs in there, particularly on the line. But it looks like the factory's completely exposed. In control needs to do as much damage as quickly as possible here, whittling down the factories. Wow, Zealot's able to get on just a few siege tanks, going to try to delay here to the south while the bulk of the army does what it can, was able to take out 3 victories. Nice victory for in control. And unfortunately, a burning missile turret scouts those 2 Dark Templar. Looks like more Dark Templar here to the south, able to just slice through that tank very rapidly. Comsat, wow, SCVs plus a tank able to take it out with 1 hit left. Very rare. Nice. Way to go, DTs. But still, the metal army, I'm going to just call it the metal wall, the Iron Curtain. There we go. The Iron Curtain moves on. Hellion's tanks, oh wow, Thors, which are just gigantic, massive things unto themselves. In control now has more immortals. The question is it enough? Engaging a couple of Hellions there. That's spotting his army. Blinking forward before these siege tanks, and he might have wanted to blink one more time there, but the Thors at the front going to engage, and the Thors just melting because of the pure bulk of this army. Everything in control side is on flame. Wow. Just did not lose a lot, and I wouldn't expect to with, geez, that's a lot of tanks. Still 4 Thors at the front, pressing forward. In control lost his entire army, and he does not have the economy, and this is where he needed a large economy just to keep rolling with this. He's currently at half the supply, almost, of DDE. DDE moving up to retake this 12 o'clock base, but he can continue to roll forward. Looks like he's also taking the 6 o'clock location, building 2 command centers, one I assume to turn into a planetary fortress. Well, actually probably both the planetary fortress here at the 6 o'clock, and in control going to lose 1 precious base that he needs. His main's mined out. He's currently at 2 bases, and wow, just siege tech, everything there. More flames. Dark Templar moving up. They are able to get on the siege tank line. I think they took a siege tank with them, maybe even did some damage to that Thor, excuse me, but this base just melting, absolutely melting under the Iron Curtain of Incontrol. 6 o'clock location. Dark Templar moving out to wreak what damage they can. Will it be enough for Incontrol, though? It looks like 2 forges up and running. I think they, oh, wow. They are not lasting long. I don't think they're really useful anymore because I think Incontrol is fully upgraded where you want it to be. No shield upgrade, but does have the level 1 weapons, level 1 armor. So going to work out for him. More siege tanks here in that upper corner doing a lot of damage. Dark Templar are able to stop that command center from being built. Perhaps able to take out all of the SCVs. Also able to take out that missile turret. 1 Dark Templar guarding that ramp. Going to attack some of those Hellions. Ooh, eating some damage there. Spending 1 comsat. There's plenty of comsat left for this additional Dark Templar. Or maybe not. DDE trying to take out that pylon to establish this. Now that Dark Templar are getting wiped out. And woof, 1 single flame. DD pulling back, looping back around, abandoning that 12 o'clock. Incontrol going to have free and open reign here to wipe out this 12 o'clock base, and it looks like DD having to sweep around. Never mind, there wasn't a base there to wipe out. DDE still with this large army. Incontrol doing a fantastic job of keeping these bases down, but I still don't think he can get, if he could just engage this army piecemeal somehow. Probes, what are you doing? No, too many probes there at the 12 o'clock location, and probes versus Hellions, not a fair fight. Wow, that's a lot of tanks. I just want to emphasize, wow, that is a lot of tanks. 25 tanks, 26 tanks now, and 4 Thors. DDE goes where he wants. Hellions dodging to that bottom left-hand corner, trying to find what they can. Looks like some Stalkers are moving here to the 6 o'clock to finish off that command center, but still, wow, Hellions moving out to the natural. Incontrol is not mining at all currently. He's trying to run, he's going to try to distance mine with what he can. Ooh, unfortunately, Hellions are everywhere, and he cannot defend all of these locations and engage DDE's army. It looks like DDE sieging up this bottom right. Incontrol is there. He's slightly out of position, able to take out a couple tanks. DDE now, Incontrol approaching that siege line. Probably he does want to lead. This is actually a good situation for him. It looks like he's able to get some siege tanks, but the Thor's coming up to support. The Immortals just dying through pure mass is really what it comes down to. Yes, the shields help, but just too many siege tanks. A lot of siege tanks taken out there, but there's just too much army. Incontrol GG's. He had no economy. Really well played by DDE. I like the armor play. Special thanks to both of them for participating. Again, thanks to AZK for the intro. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry about the delay. We'll try to have Fog of War 3 out soon. Check out Punator's maps. Thanks for listening.